Grammar is such a powerful concept in the reading fill in the blanks questions. You won't believe it until you see this girl in action.
Okay, look at this sentence and tell me which voice is it written. Is it active or passive voice?
It is active.
Okay, why do you think this is an active voice?
Because researchers is the act at the beginning, which is the subject and which is the noun.
Okay, good one. Where is the verb over here? Look at this particular sentence. Researchers have directly linked the population. Which one is the subject, verb, and object?
Subject is researchers, verb is linked, object is population.
So, what is directly over here?
Directly is a adverb which is describing linked, which is the verb.
Okay, very good. Now you see there are more patterns of subject, verb, object in the whole sentence. Like population, again a noun, population decline in polar bears living in so-and-so Hudson Bay. What is to here?
To is a preposition.
Okay, so that is the preposition that is linking the two nouns, Hudson Bay and the other one. So if you see the word shrinking, okay, so what is shrinking in this case? Looks like a verb to me.
No, sir, it's an adjective because it is describing the nature of the sea in this case.
Okay, perfect, well done. Now last part of the sentence is shrinking sea ice caused by climate change. Where is the subject, verb and object?
Here nouns are sea, ice or sea. Caused is the verb. Climate is the adjective. Change is the noun in this case.
Okay, so now you saw the girl in action. Let's see what Bhushan has to say about it.
देख रहा है विनोद, ये लड़की का खेला कैसे मक्खन जैसे सॉल्व कर रही है.
So, if you are serious and you want to be at the same level as the student you just saw, then you have to watch this video right till the end because things have been made very simple and easy for you. Hey everyone, this is Anurag here from Edutrainex PTE. I hope you all are doing good. You just saw a student in action and she made her goal that she want to get a 79 plus score at any cost. So what she did was she perfected her grammar, she perfected her vocabulary and the techniques that we are going to also share with you in this particular video and crack the PT exam. You can also do it. If you need paid assistance, you can WhatsApp us and then we will provide you all the facilities that we offer to our students, prediction files, app access for practice, mock test, everything under one roof. So like and subscribe and let's begin immediately. Okay, as you see on the screen, this is what I showed you in the 4 killer concepts or 4 killer strategies for the reading fill in the blanks and the reading writing fill in the blanks. Everything is crucial in the exam, meaning grammar, collocation and context. But in this particular video, we are going to focus on how grammar can help you solve the reading fill in the blanks questions in a quick manner. And you have to understand the concept of the word types, the way you saw her demonstrating, identifying each type of the word that was given in the sentence, and that helps you to narrow down the options and then just apply the meaning and pick the words directly. So you need to develop that thought process, that concepts in mind. You have to be very determined, very motivated. You can do it. Absolutely everyone can do it. And believe me, the girl, when she joined, she didn't have any ideas about that. When we taught her, she perfected her, did put more efforts. Okay, so basically you also have to practice and perfect it. And definitely you will see the changes in your confidence level. Definitely you will see the increase in your scores as well. That's for sure. And towards the end of this video, we will also do some real exam questions demonstrating the concepts we are going to discuss here. First things first, what I told you already is the grammar word types. Word types is also called as the parts of speech. This is what you saw in action video, what you were able to recognize and what you need to identify in the exam. So nouns, pronouns, adjectives, verbs, adverbs and prepositions. Conjunctions are very easy to identify, and, but, with, or, and these are not mostly based in the reading fill in the blanks question, but yes, sometimes the questions in the reading writing fill in the blanks, you will see prepositions are combined with the word options and then you see the options like that. So yes, identifying the word types is very crucial. First of all, as you saw in that video clip, she was able to identify the nouns, the verbs, the adjectives, the adverbs, everything. So we'll come to that shortly. But noun is something like a person, place or a thing. Now, what is a person, place or a thing? It's very easy to identify, but sometimes virtual things can also be noun. Now, that's where the things get a little bit difficult, like idea, okay, determination, confidence, okay, all these words are also nouns. Now, in the next video of the grammar techniques, I am going to show you some patterns of the words that you can use to identify these type of words. That will make your job at least 50 to 60% easier. Okay, most of the time that patterns help you to identify. Sometimes you still have to apply the meaning to understand. So nouns are those things like a person, and then pronouns. If I replace person with a he or she, that is a pronoun. Adjective is something that describes anything, any noun. So if I say this is a mouse in my hand, it is a black mouse, it is a dirty mouse, it is a beautiful mouse. So whatever words I use to describe it becomes adjectives. And you saw the pattern in the first question that I demonstrated with that girl, how she was able to pick up those adjectives, how those nouns, those verbs. Verbs are always the action that tells you what is done by the subject. Shortly, we'll also tell you how the subject verb objects are fit into the sentence and how you can recognize whether it's active, passive voice, everything together. Adverbs are something that describes the verbs, and adjectives. The very common pattern for adverbs is the words ending with ly. Okay, like directly, slowly, clearly. All those words are always adverbs. Okay, there are some different formats as well, but this is the most common pattern that you will see in the exam. Okay, the next thing that I want you guys to focus on. See, if you want to become a master like that, the girl, you have to understand these things. And these are not very complex things, to be honest. Just take it slowly. Understand what I demonstrate to you. Nouns, any things, person, place, like that. How is active and passive voice different? So you have to be able to distinguish, because the subject, verb, object positions change. So active voice, they focus on the person. Like I did something. So I is coming at the first. Tom cooks the chicken. This is the example saying the same thing. Tom is the subject coming right at the beginning or towards the beginning. Whereas passive voice, they do not focus on the person, it focuses on the object. What is the object over here is chicken. Cooks the chicken. Something is cooked by Tom. So that's how passive voice are. The chicken was cooked by Tom, or the chicken was cooked. You don't even need a subject sometimes, but the object will always come first in the passive voice. That's the difference. Now let's examine what the uses of this active and passive voice and how you can use it in the exam. So basically, passive voice are used for impersonal writing, scientific writing, traditional, and all those sort of things. So there are problems in passive voice. Why? Because they are difficult to read. They tend to be confusing. So they tend to be longer sentences, not very clear sometimes. If you read this sentence, the chicken was cooked by Tom, and if I write another phrase after that, it will become even more confusing. Which one is the subject, which one is the verb? So that is why you have to use active voice wherever possible, especially in writing. Don't try to use passive voice more. Even if you Google it, you will find that active voice is mainly preferred by the readers and passive voice is discouraged to be written, especially in written language. You are not going to write a scientific piece of writing, impersonal writing, or a formal writing. You are writing an essay or email. So rely on the active voice. And this is the structure for the active voice: subject, verb, object. The same exact sentence that I showed you on the very first screen of this video was also in active voice. Researchers have done something. So researchers is the subject right at the beginning. You can see some examples. Tom kicked the ball. The ball was kicked by Tom. See how the object and the subject, they switch the places. And there is another trick for the passive voice, not trick, but actually a rule. The verb will always be in verb 3 form, in the past tense. So everywhere you see cooked by, done by, kicked by. Okay, so mostly when you add by and then put the subject. This thing was done by someone. That someone is the subject. So always remember, this will be verb 3 in case of passive voices. Now you may see in the exam some questions, sentences in the active voice, some can be in the passive voice as well. So you just have to recognize this pattern. Where is the subject coming? Where is the object coming? So subject is something that is doing something, and object is something that is receiving the action of the subject. Remember it this way. Tom cooks chicken. Chicken is cooked by Tom. Those two examples. Now, when you want to convert active to passive voice in writing, especially, to just change the subjects and the object position. So the ball is kicked by Tom. Tom kicks the ball. The ball is kicked by Tom. So is saying that it is still present tense, but because it is written in passive voice, it has to be used with a verb 3. So don't confuse there. I'll show you more examples. Now see in this table, you see past, present, and future. Cooks the chicken, cooks the dinner, cooked the dinner, will cook the dinner. Now see in a passive voice how it changes. Is remains to show that this is present tense and cooked. In past tense, it will be added as was cooked. And in the future tense, it will be cooked. But still always verb 3 is there. That doesn't change. Is, was, and will be is used to convert it into sentences into passive voice. And that's how So is, was, and will be is used to convert these active voices sentences to the passive voice sentences, and that's how we use it. Now, let's understand a little bit more with the examples, further examples of subject, verb, object. Now, believe me, you may find it to be too theoretical or boring. Yeah, sir, always you teach about subject, verb, object, but did you not see that girl in action? I'm just telling you, you have to rely on the basic grammar and basic English techniques. If you are able to understand, see, 7 to 8 word options are given to you, especially in the reading fill in the blanks. And if you find that, okay, a verb is only going to fit, not all the words given to you will be verbs. Maybe only 1 or 2 or 3. So out of 8, you have narrowed it down to 3. Then just apply the meaning. So you see how much confidence and how much chances you are improving to get the right answer. Choosing out of 8 or choosing out of 3. Even if you are a mathematician, you can say, okay, just by probability, I can say that has a very, very higher chances than choosing from 8 options. So that's why I'm teaching you the basics. And you have seen the scorecard, you have seen the girl, she knew nothing before coming to us. Just learn the basic concepts. You guys can also do the same. See over here, the scientist who worked for 5 years built a complex machine which was shipped to Germany. Who is doing what? Scientist is doing something. Who worked for 5 years is just telling some information about the scientist, but not the action done by the scientist. What is the action here? Build something. Build what? That will be your object. Build the machine. Now, what is complex doing here? Complex is describing the machine, and that becomes your adjective. So, always adjectives describe the noun. Complex machine. Simple machine. So, you are describing the machine, right? So, it becomes an adjective which was shipped to Germany, adding more preposition to expand the phrase. This part we have shown you in the writing videos, how to expand the phrase. The next one, the scientists are working, subject is the scientists, plural, are working on the next generation nuclear weapons. So what are they working on? Working on nuclear weapons or weapons. Next generation and nuclear is describing the weapons. So what are they? They are adjectives describing the weapons. Okay. Start recognizing these patterns. And this is the same sentence that we did with the student. So let's examine that as well. Researchers have directly linked population. Okay. Now in longer phrases or longer sentences, you will see repetition of subject, verb, object, like in this one. Researchers have directly linked population. Subject, verb, object, finish here. Okay. Subject is this, linked is the verb, population is the object. Again, noun. TION, shun, ending with shun is always noun. Researchers, human beings, always nouns. So what is directly? The girl told you, adverb. It is describing directly linked population, which is a verb. Okay. Now again, the subject, verb, object pattern can repeat like we showed you. Population decline in polar bears living in Western Bay. And then you see how to is used as a preposition to expand it to shrinking sea ice caused by, again verb, by climate change. So caused by change. What change? Climate change. So this becomes your object, which is the noun. And climate in this case is describing the type of change. So that will be adjective. And that is how you have to break it down. Even in the middle sentence, you can see polar bears as the subject living where? Living in the Western Hudson Bay, which is a place name. Again, place names are nouns. Places are nouns. Persons are nouns. So you can see the repetition of subject, verb, object in an active voice sentence. And then that's how you have to see in the exam. You have to see closer to where the blanks are and then identify which type of word can I fit here. Okay, now there is one more rule that I wanted to tell you. If the subject is singular, then the verb will be plural. If the subject is plural, the verb will be singular. Always a rule. The researchers work on something. Researchers is plural, work is singular. If I say he eats something, he eats. So you see the verb is plural in case of singular subject. This is also something that you need to remember. Now let's do some exam questions and then try to see whether the concepts that you learned just now are useful or not. Absolutely, it will be useful, and you will see in the exam, just like our many successful students and viewers from the YouTube, they have been able to crack the exam using this technique. So this is not bull, but this is very useful. Okay, now you see the paragraph right in front of you. It's a historical paragraph. In 1820 something happened. Okay, so in 1820 something happened. Now try to identify the subject verb object. Bentham. Okay, Bentham had become a well-known something. Bentham is a person, it is a subject. Had become, this is the verb in the past tense, subject verb, and well-known dash, this will be your object, because over here well-known is describing the noun. So this is the adjective here, and this is also a very common pattern. As you can see, this is the question that has been picked up from this particular month's exam questions, repeat questions. And if you don't have access to that, you can just join our YouTube membership, where you will be able to access all the latest prediction files that we publish, not only for the reading questions, but for every module important questions, and that includes both academic and the core exam. Just go on our channel and click on join. You will be able to access everything. So you will see that these questions are there. So I have not made this question by myself. These questions have come in the exam, and this is a very common pattern. What is the pattern here? Well-known something. So I know I have to pick a noun. Now figure out which one is a noun. Trigger, triggering something, action. Preserved, again a verb. Reserved, again a verb. Figure, figure could be a noun. Transcribe, transcribe is again action, transcribing something. So how many nouns do you see? I only see one noun, figure, and straight away, without even thinking, because this is the only contender here, that has to be the answer. So since this is the only contender here, so that has to be the answer. As simple as that. Just mark it as the answer and you will get it. Next one. Okay, ideally you should also be reading this part very, very quickly, so that you get some context, because sometimes you have to rely on the context to answer the question. Okay, but let's see if we can solve it just by reading. Don't just blindly read it, only the questions or only the sentences which has the blanks. Sometimes you need the context as well. So that's not 100% formula that you can use all the time. Okay, let's see. And his skeleton was dash as the auto icon, was dash. Now we can use some grammar hint as well, what I've been teaching you all the time. Was, you saw in the passive voice, right? Was dash, always verb 3 will come here. Now let's examine the options. Preserved, reserved, only 2, verb 3. Now apply the meaning. Preserved and reserved. Now you just have to apply the meaning, understand the sentence, what it is trying to say. That's why I tell you context is also important. As per the directions in the will, Bentham's body was dissected by his friend, the surgeon Thomas Southwood Smith, and his skeleton was dash as the auto icon. So, skeleton was dash. Reserved, you don't reserve someone's skeleton, you preserve it. Okay, so when we talk about things like this, you preserve things and that becomes the answer. So you saw how grammar helped you to narrow down the options. First one was very, very easy, only one noun. Second one, little bit complex, only 2 verbs, but just by applying meaning, I was able to get the answer. Let's see the third one. Okay, we continue reading. Research into Bentham's thought and life continues today at UCL's Bentham project, set up in the early 1960s with the aim dash producing the first scholarly edition of his works and correspondence. Now, with the aim dash, now we don't see any subject verb object concept over here, because we need a preposition here. This is trying to expand a phrase set up in the early 90s with the aim. That's where collocations play a role. And in my vocabulary videos, whenever I share a word and the meaning, I always give you the combination, which words they collocate with or which prepositions they collocate with. Okay, so collocation also play an important role. Aim, to do something, or aim of achieving something. I have an aim of getting into the university, or I aim to clear the exam. So these 2 type of words, to and of, will collocate with aim. Which one do we see in the options? Only one, of. Aim of producing. Now, I said in my sentence, aim to do something. So when you use to, it has to be verb 1. That is the grammar rule I shared with you in the last month or the previous month's grammar technique video, like to verb 1. But over here, aim, we see an ing. So of, that gives you additional clues that to can't be the answer. Aim to do something, or aim of doing something, or aiming for. So that kind of combination you have to master. Now in this case, only one answer is going to fit. Of is the third answer. Now let's look at the last one. Members of the public are invited to assist in the massive editorial task by helping to dash manuscripts via transcribe Bentham. Okay, helping to. Now again, same thing, exactly what I discussed just now. After to, verb 1. How many verb 1s do we see? Trigger is verb 1 and then transcribe is verb 1 here as well. So 2 options. Now apply the meaning. Just apply the meaning bhaiya and you will get the answer. Just apply the meaning bhaiya and then you will get the answer. Absolutely. Kya meaning lagani hai? So editorial task by helping to dash manuscripts. Manuscripts, what is manuscripts? Do you know? Something that is written by this guy, Bentham, and via transcribe Bentham. So it is talking about translation of something or transcribing. So what is the word we are looking for? It's not trigger. It's not we are talking about something triggering something. We are talking about transcribing or translation. You can Google the meaning. This is what exactly it means. Transcribe means to convert something of. Okay, so we are talking about conversion, translation. You can Google it. This is what the word means, and this is your answer. Transcribe. So that becomes your fourth answer. Now let's look at another question and see if you still are able to use the knowledge that we just learned to find. This one is a shorter one, so I'm hoping you can clear it easily. Okay, you can comment as well if you have trouble in still understanding these type of questions, if you are unable to figure out. Okay, so same techniques, different techniques will be applicable in different type of questions. You just need to identify them. This is definitely very, very important technique for the reading module. Whether measured by greenhouse gas concentrations. See, greenhouse gas concentration. This is a noun. Greenhouse gas is describing the noun. Adjective. Deforestation rates or declining fish stocks. Current dash consumptions. Current dash consumption. Now, do you see? Consumption and production patterns threaten to exceed the capacity of global ecosystems and the world community. Consumption, it's a noun. Production, it's a noun. Okay, production patterns threaten. So what kind of word do we need before a noun? Something that describes the noun. This is the pattern that we were talking about. This is also something that we learned, the way we write in active voices. Okay, subject, verb, object, and subject and objects are always noun, and something that comes before noun or something that describes the noun are adjectives, and this is a very, very common pattern in the exam. So adjective. Now let's try to see how many adjectives. Sound. Sound can be sound or something is very sound. So it can be used as an adjective. Made is definitely verb, not an option. Accelerate, a verb. Stagnate, a verb. Feasible, ending with common pattern for adjectives. So feasible, logical, again adjective. Unsustainable, again adjective. Able, bull. Amalgamate. Now this one is a verb. Amalgamate, amalgamating, amalgamated. So apply the meaning now. 3 options: feasible, logical, and unsustainable. What are we talking about? Now you have to apply the meaning. So grammar can help you to a certain level, but meaning, remember the diagram. Okay, meaning, context, grammar, collocation, everything works together to get you the right answer. So what do we have to figure out? Whether measured by greenhouse gas concentration, deforestation rates, or declining fish stocks, current dash consumption and production patterns threaten to exceed the capacity of global ecosystems and world community. Put efforts to pursue environmental economic growth, meet our community. So this is talking about some impacts that we are making to the environment using the greenhouse gas emissions. What are we talking about? We're definitely not talking about logical in this sense, not talking about feasible in this sense. We are talking about sustaining, or unsustainable is the word, and that becomes your first answer though. So this becomes your first answer, unsustainable. And if you put it there, current unsustainable consumption and production patterns. So that means something that we are doing now, in the future it is not going to sustain. Unsustainable rates. Even the population is unsustainable. The pollution is unsustainable. Inflation is unsustainable. Everything is going bad in the economy these days. Anyway, so the next one is world community must dash efforts to pursue environmentally dash economic growth. So what is the subject? What is the verb? What is the action? That is what we are looking for. World community. World community must do something, right? So community is a noun. We need a verb, and must dash efforts to pursue environmentally blah blah blah. The later part we're not too bothered because the blank is close to the subject and verb and we don't see any verbs. Efforts, must dash efforts, put efforts, or that is the kind of word that we always use with effort. You must put some effort. Okay, but we don't see put as an option. So what are we trying to talk about? Which other word is close to the meaning? The verbs here, made in the past tense, not an option, because this is in the present tense. Accelerate, stagnate, and amalgamate. These three are the options that you have left. And stagnate means like at the same level, not increase, not decrease. So we are talking about pushing it. Accelerate is the closest word. And by applying the meaning out of three words, we were able to find the second answer. And the last one, to pursue, environmentally dash. Environmentally is what? Environmentally is ending with ly, and this is an adverb. Okay, so environmentally dash economic growth. So you have to use either a verb or an adjective. So adverbs can also describe a verb as well as an adjective. Now, environmentally, efforts to pursue environmentally dash economic growth and meet our commitments to future generations. So this particular answer over here is, let's see the options. Most of them are verbs, but in this case, environmentally dash economic growth, because pursue is already a verb. So pursue dash something. So we have already used a verb. Now we need an adjective. And over here, unsustainable we have already used. Feasible, logical is not making sense. Environmentally logical. Now, environmentally feasible could be making sense. But sound means something very solid. Environmentally sound. And that is the answer over here. So that's how you are able to utilize the grammar and the meaning together to solve the questions in a perfect manner and get every single blank question correct. Whether it's reading fill in the blanks, whether it is reading, writing fill in the blanks. Everywhere grammar, meaning, context will help you. So master these particular techniques that I just shared with you with evidence, with the scorecard of the student. It will become simpler for you. Reading fill in the blanks question, reading, writing fill in the blanks question. Just keep learning those techniques from our videos and the vocabulary videos, expand your vocabulary. So if you want access to those prediction files where we pick these questions from, where we identify the patterns from the repeated questions in the exam, just join us as a YouTube member and you will be able to access those files. And if you have not watched our video, what we made for the 4 killer strategies for the reading fill in the blanks as well as the reading writing fill in the blanks, where we have talked a little bit more in an elaborative manner for these concepts. Keep watching Edutrainex and I will soon be back with another super informative video on PD topics. Till then, if you need any paid assistance, please contact us on WhatsApp. See you soon.